the extent of suffering, loss, as well as damage, the cattle rustling and banditry to the communities in all the affected areas. Pastors to standing orders of the House are set to appear before the Senate plenary this morning. The Cabinet Secretary for Transport and Roads, Honorable Kipchumba Murkomen, the Cabinet Honorable Ezekiel Machogu, the Cabinet Secretary for Interior, Honorable Professor Kithure Kindiki, as well as the Cabinet Secretary for Matters Wahome. And to just take you through some of the questions that the Cabinet Secretaries applying to the Senate plenary, the Cabinet Secretary in charge of Transport and Roads, Honorable Kipchumba, will be responding to questions from a Senator for Kisumu County, Senator Professor, the Cabinet Secretary, to provide a comprehensive data and records on road accidents, transporting sugarcane from farms to factories in sugarcane growing areas in Kisumu County 2017. Honorable Jenda also wants Honorable Murkomen to tell the many of these accidents are attributable to unroadworthy tractors as well as incompetent drivers respectively, and the measures that the government has put in place to ensure there is roads in sugarcane growing regions, and state the plans to compensate all persons affected involving these tractors, if any. The Senator for Nandi County, a Senator Cabinet Secretary for Roads, to provide an overview of the performance metrics of the Kenya Airways, particularly on the gross and operational profit or loss for the half year ended June 2023. The profits or losses are comparing against other key industry players. The CS is also required to provide a comprehensive account, including government bailouts and loans from the Export-Import Bank of the United States extended to Kenya Airways over the last 10 years, highlighting the respective amounts received, and this is for the purposes support was extended. Kitui County, Senator Enoch Wambua will be asking the Cabinet Secretary for Roads and Transport compensation to residents whose parcels of land were acquired for the construction of the Tomo Kitui Miwani Road. Honorable Murkomen will also be required to balance of compensation and state when it will be paid out. The Senator for Bungoma County, Honorable Wakoli, wants to provide a timeline for the rehabilitation and expansion of Lwakahaha Chwele Kimilili to accommodate the increasing traffic, including heavy trucks plying the route. Away from the CS for Roads, the CS for Education, Honorable Ezekiel so expected this morning. The CS for Education will, among others, be answering to questions Honorable Senators. The Senator for Nairobi County, Honorable Edwin Sifuna, wants for Education to confirm that Visa Oshwal Primary School standing on land registered under RL 209/5 was categorized by the Ministry of Education as a public school. This was in 1997. The Cabinet Secretary also provide the history of the ownership of the said land and explain what the government is doing tussle between the school and a private developer laying claim to the is in regards to land tussle of Visa Oshol Primary School in Westlands. The senator for Kirinyaga County, Senator James Murango, wants the Cabinet Secretary for Education to tell the House if there are any plans by the government to establish a national technical training institute in Kirinyaga County, and if so, could the Cabinet Secretary clarify whether budget the same will be made in the financial year 2024-2025? The CS for Education to tell the House what initiative has the government taken at least one national polytechnic or technical training institute in all the 47. Honorable Eddie Okech, the senator for Migori County, wants the CS for Education. What progress has the government made in putting up the necessary infrastructure, libraries and laboratories in readiness for the enrollment of the first cohort curriculum popularly known as CBC to join grade 9? And could the Cabinet Secretary confirm whether the progress originally set timelines? The senator for Migori County also wants the CS for Education to provide an update on the implementation of the Presidential Working Party on matters education reforms. The CS for matters lands, public works, housing and urban development, Honorable, is also set to appear before the Senate plenary this morning. And to just take you through some of the questions we'll be required to answer is indicate in respective parcel of government-owned land that has been designated for the affordable housing projects in Nairobi, Mombasa, Nakuru. The business of the Senate is just about to commence. Honorable Speaker of the House, Honorable presiding over the business of the Senate this morning, allow me to hand you over for this live broadcast brought to you by. My name is Gladys Mungai. Enjoy your viewing and good morning.
Sisi watumishi wako ambao umeridhika kutuita kwa nyadhifa katika jamhuri yetu. Tukuomba utuajalie tuyatende na kufikiria mambo yote yatakayofikishwa mbele yetu kwa njia ya haki, kuisha amani, ufanisi na heri ya nchi yetu, na wale ambao haja zao umezikabidhi mikononi mwetu. Clerk, do we have quorum? Sergeant at Arms, kindly ring the.
The Speaker of the Senate, Honorable Amas, currently presiding over the business of the Senate this morning, has directed the Sergeant at Arms to ring the quorum bell. And this is to give some a sort of leeway specifically 10 minutes, guided by the orders as per the directives by the Speaker to give some senators make their way into the chamber this morning. I can confirm the Honorable CS for has made his way to the waiting to be ushered into the House this morning to answer to questions from senators to be attained, which according to the standing orders of the House is at least 15 members to be in the House at any particular time when the House is sitting. As we attained, allow me to keep giving you some more highlights in regards to the for deliberations this morning. And the other cabinet secretary who is set to appear before the House this morning is the CS for Matters Public Works and Housing, Honorable CS Wahome, answering questions from senators this morning. Honorable Wahome will, among others, be the Senator for Marsabit County, Senator Mohammed Shute, who wants a respective value for each parcel of government-owned land that has been designated housing projects in Nairobi, Mombasa, Kisumu, and Nakuru counties. How many of the parcels are currently being developed since 2017? Honorable Home will also be required to tell the House the value of the parcels of land as developers for the construction of affordable housing, and could the Cabinet Secretary also cost per square meter of each housing unit, as well as the interest rate that will be charged to buyers of units. The Senator for Nairobi County, Edwin Sifuna, wants the CS for lands to tell the House who holds the title deed for the parcel of land on which Tomboya Social Hall in Nairobi County stands, and could the Cabinet Secretary indicate the ownership history of the parcel of land. CS Wahome will also be required to explain the circumstances under which land came into the custody of a private developer who has already commenced the construction, as well as the measures that are being put in place to reclaim the public land acquired or encroached upon forestall further land grabbing. These are concerns in regards to land acquisition, and the CS is required to tell the House who indeed owns the title deed, the Tomboya Social Hall in Makadara constituency. Honorable Professor Njuguna Ndungu will also be required to answer to various questions. Is required by the House to what has occasioned the failure by the e-citizen digital platform to process as well as made to some institutions. These institutions are such as the National Health Insurance Fund, NHIS. The Cabinet Secretary explained steps taken to remedy the situation. The senators also want to understand where does the convenience fee charged and reflect on the platform end up, and could the Cabinet Secretary report on the safety as well as efficacy and reliability of the e-citizen digital platform in the light of the numerous complaints of delays that followed the onboarding of a significant number of government services on the. These are questions by the Senator for Nairobi County, Senator Edwin Sifuna, and remember, upon the reply of, we have supplementary questions by senators in regards to various matters raised before. The House will this morning consider the report of the 9th Union IPU Global Conference of Young Parliamentarians held in Hanoi, Vietnam, the 15th to the 17th of September 2023. Darwa, Honorable John Methu, the senator who tabled the House for consideration and adoption on the 2nd of March 2024. The report of the Select Committee on Matters and Special Funds on its consideration of the audit reports of the water service providers for the year ended June 19, 30th of June 2020, as well as 30th of June 2021, is a report for consideration by this morning. This motion is spearheaded by the chairperson Committee on County Public Investment, Godfrey Osotsi. The water service providers include Amatsi Water Service, Bomet Water Company Limited, and Nyeri Water and Sanitation Company Limited in Nyeri County. This morning is also set to consider a motion pertaining the report of the Parliament of Kenya 13th Plenary Assembly of the Forum of Parliaments of International Conference on the Great Lakes region held in Juba. This motion is spearheaded by the Senator for Ali Ibrahim Roba. And the report, the 13th Plenary Assembly Forum of Parliaments held in Juba, South Sudan, on the 7th of December 2023. Remember, you can follow up on this live broadcast courtesy of our Senate YouTube channel, Kenya. You can also watch it on KBC Channel 1 on YouTube. You can also follow it up courtesy of Senate TV. The correct. Allow me to hand you over so we can follow up on the developments from the team. Keep it KBC Channel 1 as well as Senate of Kenya. Enjoy your viewing and
Senators, informed that we have quorum. Clerk, you may proceed to call the first order.
Order number 1, administration of oath. Communication from the Chair. Order number 3, messages. Petitions. Order number 5, papers. Order number of motion. Order number 7, questions and statements.
Honorable Senators, today we expect that is the CS in charge of roads and transport and the CS in charge of education. Clerk, can you confirm that the CS in charge of roads and transport, we are going to start with him? Is present? Now, Honorable Senators, the questions have been addressed to the CS Roads and Transport are 8. That is question number 10 by the Senator for Kisumu. Question number 11, Senator for Nandi. Question number 13, Senator for Nandi. Question number 14, the Senator for Kitui. Number 15, the Senator for Kitui. Question number 16, the Senator for Meru County. And question the Senator for Bungoma County. Those are the questions addressed to the CS. We are going to start with question number 14, then move to question before we come back to question number 10 to 13. Honorable CS, welcome to the Senate. You have, the rules and procedure. We just to do some housekeeping, be direct, concise, so that we do not waste so much time because you have to address. Now, the rules are that the Honorable Senator posing this question to ask 2 supplementary questions if he so wishes. And the Honorable Senators and our standing orders, they will have an opportunity to ask a supplementary question. Now, Honorable Senator, question is a question that is related to the primary question. If you pose a question that is a question, then you put the CS in a position where he may not be able to give you an answer. And that's why most of the time CSs say, I need time to find out. Your supplementary questions, let them flow from the primary question. But, Honorable CS, I will allow the Senator for Kitui County, Honorable Enoch, to ask questions number 14 and thereafter question number 15. You may proceed.
I thank you, Mr. Speaker. Question number 1 from my side, directed to the Minister for Roads. Mr. Speaker, my question number is as follows. What is the status of compensation to residents whose parcels of land were acquired for the construction of the Kibwezi Athi Mutomo Kitui Migwani Road? Number 2, could the Cabinet Secretary indicate standing balance of compensation and state when it will be paid out. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable CS, you may proceed to respond.
Thank you. Let me thank you for according me this opportunity to respond to questions from the Senate. As I've said before in my previous appearance, it's always my greatest pleasure to come back to the Senate and perform my constitutional responsibility to be accountable to the people of Kenya through this very important. Mr. Speaker, I beg to respond as follows. A compensation schedule for the project affected persons, shillings 694 million shillings, 989,008 was initially submitted to Kenya via a letter from National dated 18 February 2019. However, this schedule was noted to have errors, including double compensation and overvaluation. National Land Commission addressed the issues and resubmitted a revised schedule that covers the entire project dated 2nd March of 2021, amounting to 1,924,370. A tabulation of transfer of funds to NLC is shown in the schedule. That is, the schedule is attached. I am sure the Honourable Senator has the schedule, so I don't want to read the entire schedule, Mr. Speaker, but it has a tabulation in the table above, and I just so I can't see where Senator Wambu that if he notes, then he has the schedule. Yeah, thank you very much. So since the schedule is there, and it will be difficult to read the schedule or infer or refer to what that schedule means. Mr. Speaker, as shown in the table above, the outstanding amount 598,468,615. I wish to add that Kenya has been faced with financial challenges due to inadequate budget. However, the agency has since disbursed a total of 326,307,801 to NLC for compensation affected persons. Further, the compensation process has commenced for the extension to Mbondoni direction. The employers represented a team have conducted land searches for the affected parcels. The agency is in the process of validating the search, which will be sent to National Land Commission of intention to acquire. Let me say in summary, that's the answer, Your Excellency. And just to note that Senator Wambu has raised this question in the committee. He's a member of the committee, very passionate about it. Unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, just to reiterate what the answer says, we have a problem of massive, not just for this Kibwezi Road, but across the country. We have a pending bill of 150 billion earning interest, so it's growing every day. Yet the budgetary allocation for this exercise is 6 billion. We struggle to distribute it between pending roads and compensation for project affected persons. This requires now a very serious national conversation before we go to the next budget cycle. Otherwise, so in Kibwezi, but even in the road between James Kishuru to Rironi and many other roads across the country. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Wambua, you have the opportunity to ask 2 supplementary questions. You may ask both, or you may ask one, and then be the last to ask. Your colleagues have asked supplementary questions.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm well guided. I have supplementary questions at a go. Want to see us for your response. And I believe you're just being honest on this one, because you have mentioned CS that have been on this matter for the longest time. In this Senate, there is no matter that has engaged the Roads Committee in terms of questions and statements. The matter of the conversation for the persons affected by Z and Migwani. CS, in your own response, the total compensation amount from 2019 to date in 2024, only 326 million shillings has been paid out. So I don't know what percentage that is. A whopping 1.5 billion hasn't been paid. See, as you know, you and I have engaged on this matter before in your past life. At the same time that this road was started, we had two other roads whose compensation figures were 5 billion plus. Those amounts in the west and the Eldoret bypass, those amounts have almost completely been paid as compensation. The Speaker, it is good for the people of Kitui to just know whether this matter is going to be dealt with conclusively or not, because the answer given by the CS, Mr. Speaker, there are no funds available in Kenya. It's a difficult response to take. It reminds me, Mr. Speaker, as a representative of my people, of the Nyayo era, when the president himself then said that sections that did not support his government, the answer to the question would be there is no money.
Honorable Wambua, you're giving a speech. What is the question?
The Speaker, on matters like this, it is very difficult to just ask a question directly. Just allow me to. I beg you, Mr. Speaker.
Then do it quickly.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, how can there be?
Proceed to ask your question, Senator Wambua.
Mr. Speaker, the question then is where does that leave us in relation to of the Constitution 43 that if the government is going to acquire any land, then the compensation should be prompt and be made in full. These people from 2019, they are not cultivating on that land. We are being told there is no money. Mr. Speaker, when will this money be available? Will be compensated. The second question, Mr. Speaker, is related to the first. The Speaker, CS Murkomen and I belong to the same church, the African Inland Church. Some of those affected by project are church properties. And Tichulun, which is on the road, their land has been taken. Their neighbors compensated. This compensation, Mr. Speaker, is taking place. But it depends on who knows who in the ministry. Their neighbors go approach the NLC, they get some money. Some other people go approach the money. The church has no capacity to go and approach any ministry official to be compensated to construct a sanctuary. Is the minister aware of these dealings within the ministry, that it depends on who knows who for the so that we nip it at the bud, and that compensation, as we agreed as leaders, should begin from kilometers going towards Migwani. The Speaker, I thank you.
Honorable, question, give us an indication when these people will be compensated, and 2, in your ministry for you to be compensated? Very brief.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. I see the questions are made. The first thing is to say that the question of compensation, land compensation, is not only a. We need to know, as I said earlier, James Kishuru Rironi Road is affected. Keno Sagana is affected. Bypass is affected. So their Western bypass is affected. So many roads are affected across the country. And I've just mentioned a few. Even a road that going to Swam in Kitale. Mr. Speaker, we have so many asking for their compensation, and yet we've done all these roads. So first of all, let's appreciate accepted, including the Kibwezi residents, accepted development. Remember, this is a massive road of about 80 kilometers. And out of that road, I remember this road, Mr. Speaker, because we were with Senator Wambua here. So this is a historical issue for Senator Wambua. But remember, most of the part of their land has been taken by the road. The remaining part of the land, the value, 100 times. So even when they are waiting for their compensation, they're benefiting already from the development. The value is going up in terms of their property. So you must thank the residents, but we must also appreciate the benefit that comes. Number 2, representing the people affected by the project also represents the people of Kitui, who have received construction of a Kena road of 80 kilometers. That's massive in terms of the benefit of the bigger majority of the people in the area. So it shouldn't look like it's only the negative that should be amplified. Number, as a fellow AIC member, Senator Wambua said, I am not aware, Mr. Speaker, any person who is being paid for knowing somebody at the National Land Commission. In any case, the Commission get that money if we don't give them in the roads sector, because they have to receive an allocation from Kenya before they can pay somebody. If there are other people without us giving them money, then we must thank National Land Commission and ask them where they are getting this money. It would be, I think, the National Land Commission would get money from any other source other than the one being transmitted from Kenya. We position that we have only given 300 million shillings. We still owe people 1.5 billion. We will pay this that is allocated by National Assembly. We believe, Mr. Speaker, we hoped that by this year we were going to give but you know, public debt and many other challenges have delayed compensation, allocation to the infrastructure sector. I want to repeat here, we need, in the next financial year, for us to clear pending bill, we need 150 billion shillings. 50 billion shillings, we will now come to zero before now progressing to construct the remaining of the roads in the country. So you can see how serious that challenge is. Senator Wambua, I am glad you know it happened not when we came to office, but as early as 2019, and it has been an historical problem across the country.
Senator Wakoli. Senator.
Thank you, Bwana Speaker. Yangu ni kuuliza kulingana na serikali ya Kenya Kwanza, mambo ya counties kutoka Nairobi mpaka kilomita 100 ni highway, huwa tunaenda na dakika 40, na kutoka Makutano kwenda Mwea na kwenda Tharaka Nithi na kwenda Meru tunaenda na risali na ni Bwana Wasiri.
Seneta Mundigi, nimetoa kauli mwanzoni kwamba watauliza lazima liwe na uhusiano na lile swala ambalo liliulizwa mwanzo na Senator. Kwa hivyo usiulize swali ambalo halina uhusiano na lile swali ambalo limeulizwa mwanzo.
Lakini Bwana Spika, swali langu linahusikana mambo ya barabara. Vile tunaweza kusaidia.
Senator, linahusiana na barabara, lakini barabara ile ama swala, ngoja ni pengine nifafanue ili uelewe. Kweli waziri aliye mbele ya Senate hivi leo haimaanishi kwamba utaulizwa swali lolote lile ambalo linagusia barabara. La hasha. Swali ambalo linaambatana ama na la uhusiano na lile swali la mwanzo ambalo limeulizwa. Manake ukichagua barabara yote ama swali lolote ambalo linagusa barabara, ni swala litakuwa tofauti kabisa na Mheshimiwa Senator Omwa. Endelea Senator Mundigi.
Na kuomba ruhusa tukimaliza maswali yote, kwa sababu waziri yako hapa na mara mingi tumekuwa tukimhitaji na kujangi, na utaniruhusu dakika ya mwisho nimruhuse swali hilo la kutoka Embu County.
Endelea. Waziri ana ufahamu na hayo mambo atakujibu. Ikiwa hawezi kukwambia, endelea.
Bwana Spika, ni asanti. Najua Bwana waziri kwa akili yake inakuanga timamu kabisa na ako na mambo ya serikali ya Kenya. Swali langu Bwana waziri, sisi Embu County, Tharaka Nithi na Meru County tatu tuko Mount Kenya sana. Kutoka hapa kwenda makutano ni kilomita 100 na tunaenda dakika. Kutoka makutano kwenda Mwea, kwenda Embu na kwenda Tharaka Nithi na kwenda Meru tunaenda masaa 3. Tunauliza kama kuna mambo umetupangia sisi watu wa Mount Kenya East, hiyo barabara ipanuliwe ndio hata sisi tuweze kusherekea matunda ya Kenya Kwanza kwa hii kipindi ya miaka 5, kwa sababu miezi ambayo tunataka Embu County US City, kwa sababu najua ndio ile Mount Kenya East tunategemea ikiwa Mount Kenya. Bwana waziri, na unjue hiyo swali umeulizwa na Deputy Party Leader wa Democratic Party of Kenya.
Waziri, jibu tafadhali.
Asante sana Bwana Spika. Sema kwamba ile swali ya Bwana Mundiki ni swali ya maana sana. Tuko na nia ya kupanua barabara zetu zote kutoka hapa Museum Hill mpaka Moyale, kutoka pia amesema mpaka ifikie Meru, ipite Timau, ikutane na ile barabara ya kuelekea Isiolo, na pia iende mpaka yetu na ndugu zetu kutoka Sudan Kusini. Mheshimiwa Spika, hilo swali ni ya maana, lakini nikirudi hivi punde nitarudi na mswada ya kuhusiana na tolling ambayo ni lazima tuifanye kama taifa barabara hizo. Kwa hivi sasa tunajadiliana na wanakandarasi ambao watatusaidia kujenga summit, na tutakapomaliza haya tutapitisha kupitia bunge hii sheria ya tolling ili sinaweza kutupatia fedha ya kutosha kujenga na ijengwe na wafadhili ambao tutaweza kuchukua zile hela ambazo zinatoka tolling kuendeleza mambo ya kujenga kwa sehemu zingine za Kenya. Asante sana Bwana Mundiki, na asante sana.
Senators, since has 8 questions to respond, trend we've taken for we may spend a lot of time just prosecuting the first question. Allow the seers to respond to the 8 questions, and then from there we can harvest supplementary questions. Good. So, ask question number 15. After that, I'll allow the Senator for Nandi to ask the questions, and then we'll Senator for Kisumu, and then Senator for Meru, lastly Senator for Bukoba. Proceed to supplementary questions.
Hey. Thank you, the Speaker. To CS roads is what is the current state of the in Kitui County, and are there any plans to upgrade it to commercial status? Could the Cabinet Secretary provide an update on the construction progress of the Tomo airstrips in Kitui County? And now that, Mr. Speaker, you have given guidance. Now that, Mr. Speaker, you have given guidance on supplementary questions, so I will not be asking my supplementary question. I will be leaving my colleague, Senator Manzo, to take up the answers for me. I have to exit the chamber.
Honorable Sears.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Ithokwe Kitui airstrip is an aerodrome capable of handling aircraft with passengers capacity of 37 and has a runway with a tarmac 930 meters long and 18 meters wide. It's located about 2 kilometers out of Kitui town. The deteriorated with potholes in sections of the runway and apron. There are also overgrown shrubs and bushes within the strip and some low spots on sections of the runway that are causing ponding whenever there is a downpour. Rehabilitation works include extending the runway from 930 meters to 1,200 meters to elevate 3C, thus increasing its capacity to handle larger aircraft of up to 56 passengers. Runway from 18 meters to 30 meters to conform with the runway code requirements. Rehabilitate pavements, asphalt concrete overlay, pavement markings, drainage works, and other associated works. As of now, the government has no plans to upgrade the facility to commercial status, but shall be seeking the indulgence of the National Assembly in the allocation of funds for possible upgrading it. Mr. Speaker, the tender on the Seikuru tender document was issued on 17th of August 2021 through an advertisement in My Government, the Kenya, the PPIP portal. The advert closed on 2nd February 2022. A notification of contract was issued on 13 July 2022, and the contractor signed and returned the acceptance of the offer on 20. Before the contract could be signed, it was noted that there was outstanding land matters that are yet to be resolved, and therefore the contract the commencement of the works. Following a joint boundary verification and establishment of beacons that was undertaken by the National Land Commission, District Surveyor, and the County Government of Kitui, it was established that parts of the runway, runway 06, are within the road reserve class C road from Seikuru town to Usweni, as shown in the layout drawing. Additional parcel of approximately 50 acres are required for the relocation of the access road. Kenya KPLC, Kenya Power Lighting Company power lights. Parcels will also ensure that there is there is adequate provision for apron, taxiways, passenger terminal building. Due to the outstanding land matters, therefore, the contract cannot be signed until additional funding is available of additional parcels of approximately 50 acres and compensation of the project affected persons. On Speaker, Mutume Airstrip is a Code 2C aerodrome with a gravel runway service measuring 890 meters long and it is located along the Kitui-Kibwezi Road with geographical coordinates indicated below. Currently, construction works for allocation of fund in the financial year 2023-24 or 24-25 for the budget provision, Mr. Speaker. I thank you.
Question number 16, Senator.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, for indulging me to ask this question to Mr. Speaker. Could the Cabinet Secretary provide a schedule owned by the Kenya Urban Loans Authority, KULA, and the Kenya National Youth Authority, KENA, to contractors engaged in loan across the country, clearly indicating the proportion that constitute accumulated interest and payments? And part B, what occasioned the delay in settling bills due for payment, resulting in accumulation of unavoidable interest and penalties that overshot the cost of respective projects to untenable levels? And part C, Honourable Speaker, what measures the government put in place to ensure the timely settlement of bills as they fall due, and could the Cabinet timeline for the settlement of the existing pending bills? And part D, the last one, could the Cabinet Secretary the government has put in place to improve the quality of procurement and project management processes to mitigate of tenders, inflation of project costs, and certification as complete of projects that have not requisite standards? I thank you, Honourable Speaker.
Honourable CS.
Mr. Speaker, with your indulgence, because the road questions, I see the road questions are fairly similar. It's the question on Nandi, in terms of this road has not been done this. Let me just make a very brief statement, Mr. Speaker, on roads in just 3 minutes. Mr. Speaker, first, I noticed that 5 of the 8 questions touch on road infrastructure, and I think it reflects the importance and that the distinguished members of this House assigned to this sector, which is a key enabler insofar as development is concerned. In the performance of this sector, which also has been witnessed first and during 28 consultative between the Ministry and National Assembly and Senate members from different counties, including their speakers, give you a global figure overview of the status of the roads. My ministry wishes to bring to the attention of this Senate 2 subjects. The first concerns road construction. Regarding the road construction, the development vote for the national government support road projects in this financial year was 63 billion. While this allocation is a significant amount and the ministry will is used very well, it is notable that the pending bill on various projects as at 31st December 2023 is 1 billion and 162.4 billion. It may be seen that at 38% of the pending bills, before taking into account the certified value of new works to be undertaken in the course of the year, the project is resourced at the moment. The consequence of the road project's funding gap will have been well noted by members of this House, who people should be duly informed of the status of the road projects in their respective regions. Most projects funded are progressing much slower than they ought to be. And if we go at this rate, Mr. Speaker, we will complete those roads in 15 years. serious. As mentioned earlier, most projects have significant payment arrears that have built up since or earlier, and hence even when partial payments are made, construction does not resume immediately. In the last year, under economic constraints did not allow sufficient fiscal headroom for the project funding gap to be addressed adequately. However, in the realizing and showing signs of positive outlook, the ministry is working closely with the National Treasury to ensure that the government efforts are expedited. And you've heard the President, Mr. Speaker, making publicly his intention, including in meetings that we were together in, that in next financial year we should provide a budget allocation of over 100 billion so that then we can quickly complete. The second issue is road maintenance. The enabling legislation governing the resource of road maintenance, such as the Kenya Roads Board Act and the Kenya Roads Act, were enacted in 1993 and 2007 and served well their respect. However, in the time since these pieces of legislation came into force, the government has strongly prioritized and upgrading to roads that are largely under the purview of Kenya Rural Roads Authority. These roads reach deep into the countryside and provide the equivalent of a last mile connectivity. The challenge is that the resources for maintaining paved rural roads are not adequately provided for in the current allocation of. It is an understatement to say not adequately provided for. They are actually not provided for. While KERA receives levy fund, little of this prioritized for purpose of maintaining paved roads. While making this observation, allow me to note the good work done on unpaved roads with the guidance of the Constituency Roads Committee, responsive mechanisms that ensures local pain points and bottlenecks receive adequate attention. Of designated funding for maintenance of paved roads is that recently constructed rural roads, particularly about kilometers under KERA, lack the resources for maintaining them. Consequently, there is a real risk that in the absence of proper maintenance, will progressively deteriorate, and some have already deteriorated, and ultimately no longer serve their intended purpose. I'm sure members of this they have about road conditions in their areas can provide some of the roads, rural paved roads that need maintenance. Here in Kajiado, we have a road in Laikipia, Mr. Speaker. There's a road of there is a road, Mr. Speaker, that we were with Majority Leader in his county, Chepseon, Makutano, Mailine, actually, that's the place in Mailine, and many other places across the country. All these roads that were done under low volume seal was not provided for maintenance. All those roads are deteriorating and no attention is given because the entire allocation to the care on the Maram roads in the rural areas and the structure that we have at the moment, all that allocation of roads. So, Mr. Speaker, the situation with the road maintenance is further complicated by the fact that the fuel levy has remained per litre since 2016, a time when litre of a petrol cost was 100 shillings. In 2024, the fuel levy is still at 18, petrol cost about 200. The steady decline in the purchasing power of the fuel levy collection means that there is a growing backlog of maintenance activities that were instead postponed and deferred. Specifically, the projection resource needed for the maintenance of the levy fund for financial year 2025 is projected resources need for road maintenance levy fund for 2024. While the anticipated collection of that same year is 69, a shortfall of about 40 billion. This fund is reversing the trend of ever-improving road pavement conditions that citizens are now accustomed to and take for granted. This problem is cross-cutting roads in Kenya, Kura, KERA, and maintained by the Kenya Wildlife Services. Mr. Speaker, we anticipate that in due course will bring a proposed legislation to address the road maintenance challenges. And currently, I am working on, Mr. Speaker, a cabinet memo. Think of how else we are going to do what we need to do, including what in my response to the Deputy Party Mr. Speaker, that tolling and increase of RMLF, we have even proposed that RMLF should increase to 20 by the year 2025 if we are going to bridge the gap that is in place. And I will be coming back to this House on the same. So specifically to this now question, briefly, because I have given the global figure, Mr. Speaker, the total pending bill for Kenya 2024 is 87 billion. 907,106. 87 billion, 907,106. And the proportion of the interest on delayed payment is 4 billion, 803,84. Whereas the Kura, the total pending bill is 15 billion, 928,503, and the interest on delayed payment is 18 billion. 18,306,207. The respective schedule for pending bills for both Kenya and Kura are, I don't know why we didn't, the Honorable Deputy Speaker did not ask about Kera. And I should have also included in my statement just for the to appreciate that 87 plus 18, the difference, which is about is on the Kera roads, Mr. Speaker. The delay in settling the pending bills was caused by a budget cuts and delayed receipt of exchequer funding. The ministry is in constant liaison with the National Treasury to ensure that consideration is given to project funding during budget preparation process. The ministry also seeks the indulgence of this House for supporting enacting authority for legislation to support programs relate to supporting alternative mechanism of raising funds. And I because this is not the National Assembly. Article 227 of the Constitution provides for the procurement and the asset disposal system transparent, competitive, and cost-effective. The public procurement was previously undergone serious reforms, and current Article 227 by the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act 2015 and Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Regulation 2020. Across the road agencies in Kenya, Kera, and Kura are done in strict adherence and compliance with the provision of the Act and its attendant regulation. Provides a roadmap on the procurement process from planning and budgeting up to the inspection and acceptance of contracted works. Use of standard bidding documents and adherence to the set evaluation criteria has been paramount.
Honourable CS, just a minute. What is your intervention?
Honourable Speaker, I want to save the CS, my friend Kipchumba Murkomen, some. But D, I think I'm satisfied with the explanation, so I'm trying to save you some minutes, but I'll make a comment on the other part.
Okay.
So,
I am very happy, Mr. Speaker, not to reread the statement because, you know, it is submitted earlier to Parliament. Speaker, in his wisdom, and as a part of your support system in the House, has saved me time. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Senator Fernandi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I will start with my question number 1. Question number 11. Question 1A, Part A, would the Cabinet Secretary provide an overview of the performance of Kenya Airways KQ, particularly the gross and operational profit or loss ended June 2023, explaining how the profits or loss compared against other key industry players, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, sir, could the Cabinet Secretary provide a comprehensive account of all support, including and loans from Export-Import Bank of the United States of America, extended to Kenya Airways over the last 10 years, the respective amounts received, and the purposes for which the support was extended? Number C, Mr. Speaker, sir, which firms have been engaged by the KQ in the last 10 years to revitalize the airline indicates the respective amounts paid to each, as well as provide an overview of the requirements by the firms. Mr. Speaker, sir, finally, D, what was the rationale behind the decision of KQ to 787-8 Dreamliner, registered as 5Y KZJ, the 37-700, registered as 5Y KQH, KQH and KQG, that is 787-8, and could the cabinet also explain why the option of converting this aircraft to cargo planes was not pursued and identified and approved the removal of parts from this aircraft? I thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Proceed to respond.
Just by way of introduction, Mr. Speaker, I hope this is about Kenya Airways, because it's our intention to return Kenya Airways to a private company so that the government subsidizing Kenya Airways, and therefore does not have, the public do not have a stake for us to come and answer questions about private. So our effort in the manifesto of Kenya Kwanza to make sure that we offer that the government owns in the Kenya Airways, so that we return it to a profitable private company. Require the subsidies that we have had to subsidize and converted that they owe to the government of Kenya into equity, it increases their shareholding. So hopefully our manifesto of getting a strategic investor will make it the last time we are discussing Kenya Airways. Mr. Speaker, law, and I'm sure the Honourable Senator has the statement. As captured, reported an operating profit in the first half of financial year 2023 that it hadn't reached in the previous 6 years. The airline 120% improvement, reporting an operating profit of 998 million compared with the same period in the previous year, where the of 5 billion. The table number 10 will explain. Growth was fueled by the 56% increase in group revenue, reaching an impressive 75 billion. Passenger numbers surged 2.3 million, an impressive 43% growth from 1.6 million. And our earnings before depreciation and amortization and rent costs witnessed a commendable upswing of 7 points. Impressive 131%, resulting in these commendable outcomes. We acknowledge that our legacy debt, impressive operating results primarily to the huge forex losses because of the depreciation of the Kenya shillings. These forex losses were primarily due to the re-evaluation of the US dollar denomination loans and liabilities. These finance charges in total amount of 22 billion and therefore heavily impacted our overall. Mr. Speaker, the airline industry is highly competitive and therefore profit margins in the industry are thin. According to the International Airport Transport Association, the average net profit margin for the global airline industry is typically less than 5%. An overview compared to other industries is captured below. Vulnerability to external factors, to external factors that can impact the profitability, including fluctuations in fuel prices, currency devaluation, and geopolitical events. Capital intensity. Airlines require significant capital investment in aircraft to make sure we can limit their profitability. This is unlike other businesses that do not have the same level of capital intensity. This is cynical and can be sensitive to economic cycles. During economic downturns, demand for air travel may decline profitability. Regulation. Airlines are subject to extensive regulation, including safety, and add operational costs. Competition. The airline industry is highly competitive with many players operating in the market. Price wars and reduced profit margins. Operational challenges. Airlines face operational challenges, including maintenance cost management, which can impact cost and profitability. Pricing strategy. Airlines often use dynamic pricing to their profit margins. Prices for air tickets can vary widely based on factors like demand, time of booking, seat class. In summary, Honorable Speaker, while airlines provide essential transportation services, are typically lower compared to many other industries, and their profitability is subject to a range of external factors and competitive pressure. Additionally, indicates that the global airline industry is expected to return to profitability in 2024, but financial performance across regions, the industry financial are improving in all regions from the COVID-related depths of 2020, although not all regions this year. Africa remains a difficult market in which to operate an airline with economic infrastructure and connectivity challenges. Nonetheless, despite the challenges, there is still robust demand for air travel in the region, which underpins the continued overall industry profitability. Kenya Airways' current performance for financial year 2024 projections are predicted this forecast, and Kenya Airways targets to return to profitability in financial year 2024 as depicted in the table. Mr. Speaker, the table below shows also the loans acquired by Kenya Airways, and I'm sure the Honourable Senator from the GOK loans, you can see what we've been giving Kenya Airways, including the 10 billion we gave the government came to office. I wish to inform the House that Kenya Airways was not the only recipient of the government specifically to cope with the negative impact of COVID-19. Various governments in Africa and outside Africa have provided airlines. They include Senegal, $128 million, relief package for its tourism and air transport sector, Seychelles for the period from April to December 2020, and Cote d'Ivoire waived in tourism tax for transit passengers. In addition, provided fiscal support to their travel and tourism sectors as shown below. From Egypt to Ghana to Zambia to Cameroon, we've given them. Technically, it is worth noting that KQ has no loan facility from the Export-Import Bank of America. The U.S. Exim Bank is a guarantor of a facility of $841.6 million to procure 6 787 aircraft on one range aircraft and one Jenks engine. These 90%, this is 90% of the 924 million provided by Citibank and JP Morgan Chase Bank, NA. The table below gives a detailed overview of the firms contracted to provide services. Mr. Speaker, operational support in Project Safari.
Just pause a bit. What is your intervention, Senator?
Mr. Speaker, since I have the answer and I've gone through it, to assist the House to move fast. Okay. If members want to...
the response has been circulated.
So, yes, that is what I wanted to assist the House to move fast, Mr. Speaker, sir. Would it be in order I ask my 2 supplementary questions because as a House, would that be better?
You will proceed to ask question number 12, number 13, and then...
So I ask the 4 supplementary questions. Okay. So, Mr. Speaker, since you have given guidance, so allow me.
I think it's important for the Hansard. You just say that in terms of the farms, I don't need to read what they do. Okay. Mackenzie was contracted in 2015. If you
can paraphrase...
I don't need to paraphrase names.
Great.
Proceed, the farms contracted are 3. Mr. Speaker, for 2015 to 2016 is for 2016 PJT partners and 2020 C. I think that is all I can say, Mr. Speaker. Thank you. No. Mr. Speaker, there is an important answer, if I may, with your permission. I'm sure even the public will be very happy to know. That's the last only one paragraph that is related to the
Senator Sifuna, what is your intervention? Certainly it cannot be a point.
Mr. Speaker, you know the CS insisted on but my document says McKinsey. Yes, it says McKinsey here, Mr. Speaker, on the document. He has told us if they are the same.
Honorable CS, can you clarify that?
Mr. Speaker, let me just refer back to the document. Yes, correct. It's McKinsey. Thank you. It's McKinsey. So that's where the... No, not the person. There's a firm called McKinsey. Speaker, let me just... Mr. Speaker, I just want to... there have been public debate about a plane that we donated, so it's important to read it for the record. Grounded any aircraft, 5YKZJ, which is as B a Dreamliner, took some time undergoing heavy maintenance because of unavailability of many essential and critical components to market. These shortages are well published in the industry. 5YKQG and 5YKQ are or were two Boeing B737-700 aircraft under the operating lease arrangement. Upon the end of the lease, the lessors, owners of the aircraft. Mr. Speaker, it's important for those who may be new to the industry, is that the planes that are owned or run by airlines are not necessarily owned by the airlines. They are under operating lease. And the lessors themselves decommissioned the aircraft, salvaged valuable components from the two aircraft, removed and transferred what was remained of the aircraft to KQ at zero cost. The authority to invested on the lessors being the owners of the aircraft. The two aircraft, having been decommissioned and stripped parts, had therefore only one viable use as mock-ups in training. QG was thus transferred to Kenya Airways Training School, Pride Center, and if you visit it, for use in cabin crew emergency aviation security training and in-flight service training as for mock training. As part of its CSR training, KQH on as is basis to Mangu High School. Mangu is the only public high school with a well-developed flying school and club, and it provides a pool of skills KQ workforces. All these were procedurally approved by KQ Board of Directors. The estimate value of these two decommissioned aircraft more than their scrap value. Mr. Speaker, I was in the donation. I was invited to the donation as a chief guest. The students were extremely excited. Mr. Speaker, this was nothing except. And if you go to Kitengela, you will find somebody running a restaurant there called 034 with a plane being the restaurant. It doesn't mean that that's a plane which should have been flying cargo. So I think it's also important to make the public, because a statement was issued by a member of parliament in the past to say that we were donating a plane that would cost $. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator for Nandi, proceed to ask.
Mr. Speaker, I proceed with my supplementary?
No.
Okay.
Question number 12.
Question. Mr. Speaker, sir, question number 012. Question 1, when will the ongoing project for the Kericho County be completed? Number 2, Mr. Speaker, what is the total budgetary allocation for the project, and could you provide a detailed breakdown of the expenditures incurred so far? And number C, could the Cabinet Secretary assessment of the quality of the works for the project, stating what the government is doing to hold accountable the contractor and is responsible for any identified lapses? I thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Honorable CS, you may proceed.
Mr. Speaker, this is a more straightforward answer, so I'll just read the answers. Mr. Speaker, the request to undertake the refurbishment of Karenga airstrip emanated from the National Celebrations Technical Committee during their visit to Kericho on 15th of June 2023 to assess the status of the facility in the county day following the presidential directive to hold the celebrations in Kericho. Refurbishment of the airstrip involved to Maram standards and construction of an open steel frame shed to facilitate movement of guests. The works were successfully completed on 18th of October 2023, 2 days before October 2023. Mr. Speaker, the project total cost to date is 55.4, for which 45.4 million is for the clearing, stripping, and grading for the runway, as well as related drainage works, including holding 100 meters by 50 meters apron, and Kenya shillings 10 million steel frame shed. Honorable Speaker, no lapses were experienced during the execution of this project, in compliance with the bill of quantities, specifications, and the drawings. The project manager's successive approval were done. Works. The ministry is negotiating with the landowners to sell land to Kenya Airports Authority for development of the airstrip. Though land ownership of the moment, the project will be completed once the land is acquired. The minister has also had full consultation with the leaders of Kericho on this very. Just for emphasis, this Karenga airstrip land is owned by of the T estate. And so even when we developed it, it was in the understanding that we will have to engage them. We worked with the Kenya Defense Forces, who are the contracted, they were actually the contractors to construct the runway. And as you saw, it was useful for the celebrations. Going forward, we intend to acquire at least 50 or 100 acres of that land so that we do a proper airport that will enable agriculture people traveling to Kericho and its environs to be able to land in that place and take off from that Kericho. Led by the majority leader here for their support, understanding, and also for the work we are doing together to acquire the land. The problem with such infrastructure, when you come to Parliament or public and announce that we are usually the prices shoot up, it's inflated. The good news is that we are discussing this with the investor. So we have made it clear to the investor that land acquisition will be concessional terms, considering that they are also leaseholders from the government of Kericho County.
Senator Fernandi, proceed to ask question number 13.
Sir, question number 013. Could the Cabinet Secretary provide a status update on all projects from the construction and upgrade of roads government in Nandi County since 2013, explaining any discrepancies between the contractual and actual. But B, Mr. Speaker, what are the reasons for the delay in resuming construction of Kaiboy Katembu, Chomisha, Chemuswa, Chomisia Danger Road, Timbo Pere Road, Mugundoi, Nandi Hills Road, Nandi Hills Simaki Road, Keses, Cheptiret, and Cheptiret Moi University roads in Nandi County, which have stalled, and could the Cabinet Secretary also the government to expedite the resumption and completion of these projects, Mr. Speaker, sir. Thank you.
Honorable CS, you may proceed to respond.
Thank you. The Speaker, I'm glad that I'm responding to this question, having given roads in the country. So already I had shared with you the situation in the country. Thanks to the question. So I'll just go straight to the answer. I wish to state that 183 kilometers of roads have been upgraded with two major bridges constructed to completion in Nandi County since 2013. Roads Authority. Details of the projects are detailed in the annex. Concerning discrepancies of completion, I wish to state that the ministry has faced financial challenges in the funding, as I earlier indicated, due to inadequate allocation and disbursement of the years. This has culminated in the accumulation of significant pending bills from certified works. Contractors have completed the works in the affected projects, citing non-payment of their dues. The government, through the National Treasury, is working on the mechanism to our clearing of pending bills in the near future. This will result in the full resumption of completion of affected projects. Under the jurisdiction of Kenya, in Nandi County have been managed through performance-based maintenance contracts and routine maintenance contracts, depending on available resources. The agency is currently managing 10 ongoing maintenance contracts in the county. Administered by the Western Region Office, situated in Kakamega. One project is administered in the North Rift Regional Office. That's the routine maintenance of A8 Eldoret Kapsabet Road, which is commenced on 8th March 2024 and is scheduled to end on 4th September 2024. 8,218,314. The road is 40 kilometers long, but only 22 of it's in Nandi, from the Mlango to Chiabarbara. Lastly, the roads done under the jurisdiction of the Kenya Urban Roads are indicated in the that is, we are upgrading to bitumen standards the Kamobo Baraton University Road, performance Kapsabet Municipality, Nandi, which are 1, 2, 3, 4 in Kapsabet. Routine maintenance of package 5 roads in Kapsabet, again 5 and 6. And then upgrading, Mr. Speaker, 5.3 kilometers. What are the reasons for delay in the resumption? Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, for Tembu, Timbaroa, Maraba, Kopere Road, this road, Mr. Speaker, when I came to office, roads that we discussed with the agency and terminated their contract for non-performance. They had been awarded earlier in 2016, and nothing had happened for the entire period. Roads are in Nandi, Meru, Baringo, Elgeyo Marakwet, Kisii, Homa Bay, and Makueni. The tabulation I can share to the House. Mr. Speaker, the project commenced, the one for Derwai, Kapkatembu, Timbaroa, all these roads, the project commenced in February 2017 and was to be completed in 2021. The contract has since been mutually terminated due to contractual challenges. To enable timely delivery, the works were split into repackaged and retendered. The contracts were awarded on 14th March 2024 and are expected to be signed within the next upon submission of the requisite securities by the contractors. Then mobilized and commenced works with immediate effect. On the Chemuswa, Danger, Moi University, the Chemuswa, Danger, the Nandil, Simaki, Lesos, Cheptiret, Moi University roads. These are parts of the ongoing roads, Mr. Speaker, which has faced challenges of. The project was originally scheduled for completion in August 2020, long time ago, but this has since been revised to August 2020. Inadequate budgetary allocation that have led to the contractor being unable to complete the projects due to cash flow challenges. The other senators who may not have asked a similar question, this is what I told you earlier, that about 60 billion shillings is spending in Kera roads from Mombasa to Malaba, from Lokichokio to Lokichokio. All of them suffer this kind of consequences, Mr. Speaker. That's why I told you I had to read the global statement so that even those who appreciate that the circumstance under which we are operating is a very poor budgetary allocation. Mr. Speaker, the Mugundoi Nandi Hills Road was proposed for upgrading to bitumen standards through, though we have been maintaining the road to achieve utilizing 22% of the fuel levy funds. I acknowledge the completion of the Timbaroa, Mateitei, Seko, Kopere Road to contractual challenges caused by inadequate budget allocation. The contractor achieved 47 kilometers of tarmac but was unable to complete the total contract of roads despite numerous interventions. Consequently, the ministry, in consultation with the Office of the Attorney General, mutually terminated the contract. This paved way for the retendering of the remainder of the works advertised on 27 October 2023 to enable timely two slots repackaged and retendered. The contract was awarded on 14th March 2024 and are expected to be signed in 28 days, as I said earlier. Required to mobilize and commence immediately. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Proceed to ask question 010.
Yes, I go right to ask question number 010. Cabinet Secretary for Roads and Transport. Could the Cabinet Secretary for Roads and Transport comprehensive data and records on road accidents involving tractors, transport from farms to factories in sugarcane growing areas in Kisumu County since 2017? Part 2, how many are attributable to unroadworthy tractors and competence of tractor drivers? Third, doing to strengthen and streamline regular monitoring and enforcement of licensing of tractor drivers of tractors. And the last part, Mr. Speaker, sir, is what measures are in place to ensure proper maintenance of roads, growing areas, and could the Cabinet Secretary state plans to compensate persons affected by road accidents involving? Mr. Speaker, sir.
Honourable CS, you may proceed to respond.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Speaker, the total number of farm tractors presented for are as tabulated below. In 2020, 2019 it was 7, 2020 9, 2021 9, 2022 3, 2023 in this year 1. For the period of 2019 to 2024, the total number of defective tractors were 9. The ministry, through its implementing agency NTSA, conducts road safety sensitization forums quarterly operating within the Kisumu County and its environs. These factories include KBC Company Limited in Kisali, West Kenya Sugar Company, Kabra Sugar Company, Moroni Sugar Company, and Butali Sugar Mills. Following a meeting of the committee held on 5th July 2023, it was noted that most accidents involving Ken trucks were due to the following reasons. Ken truck drivers on the road, as most trucks lack chevron and proper lighting equipment, failure to observe operating hours be allowed on the road before 6 a.m. and after 6 p.m. Most drivers free wheel, especially when approaching to gain momentum to move uphill, resulting in accidents. For example, the Kasagam, several sugarcane trucks have rolled over due to freewheeling. These facilities have been designed to be navigated at a certain speed. For example, the maximum speed of the Kasagam flyover is 40 kilometers per hour. Thus, a driver going at risk of causing accidents. There is need for drivers to undergo road safety training and defensive driving skills, frequent breakdowns to stalled trucks on highways. In order to address the issue raised about safety matters, the Ministry of activities on sugar transporters and farmers beginning this month. Proper and secure cane loading on tractor trailers to minimize obstruction, ensure visibility, and prevent spillage on carriageways. Settling collection points from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Additionally, the NTSA conducts free tractors to cane collection points. This is done to ensure tractors are properly mounted retro-reflective shape. NTSA conducts joint operation with traffic police to ensure compliance. Mr. Speaker, the NTSA have designated the road growing areas under performance-based contracts and routine maintenance contracts whose specifications include but are not limited to the following: clearing any carriageway, drop-offs from sugarcane trucks, sealing of emerging potholes on the carriageway, desealing obstruction, road marking to enhance road safety. That must be Kenya. Yeah, sorry, I read that NTSA, but it's. Please correct the report accordingly, the document accordingly, Senator Professor Gender. It is axle loading control to curb loading, pavement strengthening on need-to basis to accommodate sugarcane. Roads in Western Kenya region include Kakamega, Kiboswa, Kakamega, Webuye, Kitale, Ekero, Mayoni, Bwekas, and Ebuyangu, Ekero. Roads in Nyanza region include Ewasi, Nandi Hills, Moroni, Fortenan, Awasi, Kilgoris, Mariwa, Kilgoris, Rongo, Homa Bay, Ranen, Chamgwiwadu to Kenyanya, Rodi, Kopany, Kendu Bay, Homa Bay, and Mamboleo, Kiboswa. Additionally, the Ministry stakeholders engagement with sugarcane transporters and interested stakeholders and sensitized them on adherence to acceptable rare top when carrying sugarcane as per the Traffic Act guidelines. This aimed at minimizing accidents caused by reduced visibility due to improper packaging of sugarcane. Effects of overloading on the carriageway. Procedure of obtaining permits from NTSA and of cane transportation. Need for proper packaging for sugarcane on trucks to minimize drop-offs and littering on the carriage. Maintenance cost. So, Speaker, this statement is coming at a time when we have unfortunately lost a number of people yesterday and the day before on road accidents, including students of Kenyatta University, and happened in Olenguruoni, Silibwet Road, and the other one that happened in Moroni. Mr. Speaker, road accidents are a threat to our national health system. In fact, Honorable Nakumicha, the CS Health, about the impact of such accidents on our health facilities. Mr. Speaker, just I've got this opportunity through this August House to condole with the families that were affected. And number two, Mr. Speaker, to assure the public that Uhuru Kenyatta vacated in 2018, that made it impossible for us in the transport sector and NTSA to do enforcement, is now revisited. And together with Professor Kindiki in Interior, effort that required some of the traffic police officers to be seconded to NTSA for proper enforcement. Mr. Speaker, we were left to what you saw me reading here, sensitization. But Mr. Speaker, even though the Act permits enforcement on the ground, Mr. Speaker, government decision was made. Police. I believe the new direction will help us to be able to deal with this menace. But last, Mr. Speaker, even this tractor menace, including driving on the roads, Mr. Speaker, the statistics show that most of drivers' behavior. Mr. Speaker, when I announced last year that the drivers will be retested and that you will the driving license retested, there was hue and cry. And many people say that we were oppressing drivers. Testing. Lawyers go through every year through training. Doctors do the same. Mr. Speaker, life should be retested so that we know those who are competent. We test even up to their alcohol content. Possibilities among the drivers. These are things that we should support as people of Kenya. The last thing is that, Mr. Speaker, citizen responsibility is extremely important. The matatu that got an accident on Lenguruoni Silibwe Road, Mr. Speaker, had 24 people, which is 10 people extra, carrying 4 bags of maize. That, Mr. Speaker, by the time the 15th person, the 16th person, the person was boarding that matatu, they knew, of course, that it was overloaded. And, Mr. Speaker, we cannot act as citizens that you sit in a car, the driver is drunk or over-speeding or it's already overloaded. We also need to as passengers, but more importantly, those who are sitting behind the wheel. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
You may proceed to ask question number 031.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. My question is as follows. Could the Cabinet Secretary provide a timeline for the rehabilitation and expansion of Luahaha, Chwele, Kimilili to accommodate the increasing traffic, including heavy trucks plying the route? Could the Cabinet Secretary indicate the progress made in acquiring land for the expansion of the said road, stating and the timelines for expansion of residents whose land will be acquired for the project? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable CS, you may proceed to respond.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The ministry, through the Kenya Rural Roads Authority, standards the sections of Luakaga, Chwele, Kimilili, Kamkuya Road, namely the Luakaga, Korosiondet, Tulienge, Sirisha Road, as part of the low-volume seal roads program. And if the senator was to go even further in his question, wearing out. It's one of those roads I was talking about, the low volume steel roads. The 30-kilometer section, which is under in 2019, providing access to the Oaxaca border point, thereby offering alternative route to Uganda. Consequently, attracted heavy cross-border traffic, which accelerated its deterioration and raises the need for redesigning and commensurate standards that can accommodate the resultant traffic. The proposal for the expansion of the road and its projected to include land acquisition due to narrow existing 25-meter corridor will be forwarded to the National Treasury and consideration alongside other economically significant projects countrywide. The section traversing Kamukuywa, Kimilili, Chwele is works under Kena through hybrid performance-based contract. The scope of the rehabilitation works include road shoulder reinstatement through bench reconstruction of base layer and asphalt concrete overlay to selected failed sections, drainage works, including to culverts, lining of side drains, and installation of gabions. Surface dressing to improve and seal the carriageway. Road marking and installation, replacement of damaged, vandalized traffic signs. The road shoulders have been reinstated and the current way is free of potholes. The agency is aware of the increased traffic along the pavement structured upgrade and expansion works, which shall be executed upon availability of funds. The land acquisition process Kimilili section and Kimilili Chwele was completed in 1974 by increasing the road reserve to 60 meters respectively. Some market centers have a road reserve of 25 in Gazette number volume this of 46 of 27 of 1974. The ministry is currently land acquisition on the Luakaka, Korosionde, Tulienge, Sirisha, Namuela, Chwele Road. As part of the low volumes seal roads program strategy, roads were deliberately constructed within the existing corridor to eliminate the need for require compensation and thus inflate the overall project cost. Just to emphasize this, Mr. Speaker, this is an alternative route. We have, when we are done with the process that is ongoing, to Kena, because of it is a highway now. It's moved to a highway so that it can be constructed to highway standards with proper border post, an alternative border post in the Luakaga-Chwele Road. Mr. Speaker, leaders of Bungoma, from the governor to the senator to the MPs, have been very particular about it, and we'll find resources under Kena. First, we'll make sure that transfer will have been done from Kera to Kena. We will be able to make sure that we put weighbridge in that section, but to Kena standards. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Kathuri, do you have any supplementary questions? Proceed.
Honourable Speaker, my question was on the pending bills across the two institutions. Concern is the interest that are accruing, especially with Kena, because as the CS has put it, 7 billion pending bills and the interest is 4 billion. So, Mr. Speaker, my concern is that we have so many rules, and if we are paying this interest, then, Mr. Speaker, this is the money which should be going to maintain such loans. Put it. So, the issue is drained funding from the exchequer. Mr. Speaker, as a country and as a government, my issue was, why is the delay in exchequer release? Because most of them are funded through the exchequer, Mr. Speaker. So what plan maybe if, because they 150, 160 billion to carry out the pending bills, if we doesn't get them the next 1 year, does it mean that we are interest, Mr. Speaker? And the second one was about the maintenance of roads, Mr. Speaker. My issue is these roads. And once we fail to maintain, we are losing that investment, Mr. Speaker. Like where I come from, this road called Chogoria Marimba Meru Road. This road was built by European Union to support the tea factory. But Mr. Speaker, this road is never maintained. There are heaps of soils. Once it rains, there is a lot of on that particular road, Mr. Speaker. And I've addressed it. And Mr. Speaker, even though that we have no money for doing new other things, Honorable CS, when some of us lied to the ministry requesting, we have been around for some time, Mr. Speaker, and some of us have no vested interest on our requests. But I want to really request the ministry that even though we are not in the National Assembly, people, when we make interventions through the ministry for particular roads, Mr. Speaker, you saw me working on potholes of the Meru Nairobi Highway because the road maintenance was poor. So when some of us like for specific interventions, I want to request the ministry on record today that they shouldn't be listening to some of during check on us. And once I tell you something, as a CS, as a PS, you must know this thing is coming from the whole.
What is your question, Honorable Kathori?
What I was saying is that the CS should try and the national highways, Mr. Speaker, and then any interventions that we put across. Those are not coming from me, but from the great people from the Honorable Speaker. Thank you.
The Honorable Senator is done. Proceedings, CS. If you picked any questions from that long.
Mr. Speaker, I share the same concerns with the Honorable Senator and the Deputy Speaker. You see, if you have, I need to add for your record that it is 6 billion in Kera. So you have 6 billion in Kera, 4 billion in Kura, 4 billion in Kenya, and 18 million in Kura. Those are interest only. That I wish I had added claims, which we cannot define at the moment because the contractor. I need another mobilization money to come there. The fuel prices have changed. So pending bills, like the ones we have done from 2017, 2016, 2017 to now, is causing us problems. Two things. The legislative mandate on roads, equal legislative mandate to National Assembly. I think we need to provide a cap similar to Induplam rule, that even if you are going to ask for interest, it should not be more than twice. Not be more than twice the cost of the road. And I'm telling you, Senator, I wish I had brought this example here of one contractor who, by going to court, we had paid the contractor up to 8 billion. The balance, the 8 point something, the balance was about 300 million. But it was awarded by court billion. So I'm asking myself, when a judge is sitting there and awarding an extra 3 billion, where does he think the money comes from? And how are we going to build the roads? So there must be guidance. And I think it will be incumbent upon us as a ministry to provide this. Number two, if we were at the end, you see, this is where the problem is. The parliament provides the budget, okay, in the beginning. The agency is told, now procure based on that budget. Then towards the end of the year, through supplementary, the budget, we started this year, for example, development budget at 63. We are now ending at 46, okay? There's still a gap of 20. Now that, for the last 7-8 years, we've been providing 5 billion when the agencies are provide 100 in the beginning of the financial year, and then we create a gap. That is why we have so many, because that's the themselves. How come, despite the legislative, procurement law, how come of pending bills, yet our procurement law says don't procure what you don't have? This is the challenge we have. And It's a big challenge in this government is to deal with the nearly 700 billion of pending bills. And I don't know which formula we will use to sort it in the next 4 years. But I promise, and the promise of this of reducing it significantly so that people can get at least 2,000-3,000 kilometers of the roads completed. The issue of maintenance is the same. The same situation applies. I said I'll come back with a policy position on how to increase the resources for maintenance. As we discussed with you, this Chwele Road, for example, Wakaga Road, and the ones in your county like Kipia, under low volume seal. We are negotiating with the National Assembly so that the constituency road, the 10% that is for Kera, to come back to maintain those roads to start with, even if it will salvage the worst roads in the country. If we don't do that, we'll build from zero. Contracts were given 2017. Now the contractor is on a pending bill. He has a pending bill. He's not completed the pending road. The part that he started with is already finished. So the part that started is finished. The road, and that's a real problem. Now, Senator, there is no senator under. That was my position as a senator. That was my position as majority leader. My position as a minister. There is no senator who does not have mandate over oversight of any in the national government in his role of representation of the people of his county. So you shouldn't sound like you are raising road issues in your county. You are not. That's why I'm here. If you didn't have the mandate, I would not be here. So the questions raised by senators or members of National Assembly is treated equally when it comes to responding of the roads. And in my office, it doesn't matter. That is why, you know, Senator, you are in my office. Look at the roads in Meru. You came, all of you, as leaders of the county, and we looked at it, all of us as leaders of the county. Even a governor raising ignored, despite the fact that they don't sit in any House of Parliament. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Fernandi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I shall take the omnibus of my 3 questions and I will be very brief and precise. Number 1, Mr. Speaker, question number 3 on the performance of KQ and donation, the answer is not satisfactory. Supplementary question 1, can the Cabinet Minister provide performance acceptance deferred defects? Performance acceptable technical log with the dates and parts log, and leases of the said aircrafts and ownership. Supplementary. Mr. Speaker, on the consultants, the CS has strategically omitted the president. 1 is the steer group and 2 is the famous Polish 5. So the CS should provide that. 2, supplementary question number 2 on Kerenga airstrip. I'll only take 1 supplementary on that. Can they that as Kerenga airstrip as it is in Kericho County, it is only graded. So planes tend to that you will never put it up to bitumen standards. And finally, on question number 1 on supplementary, when is he doing reclassification, redesign and expansion of a Kapsabet, Chafakali, Shamakoko and Awasi Road? That is supplementary question number 1 on that final question. And finally, when is the CS doing physical visit to assess deplorable that I've mentioned above, and he did mention above, and direct maintenance of these roads before you, the CS has made more visits to Nandi to attend funerals and other social functions, but has not found these roads physically and verify. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Honorable CS. Brief.
Mr. Speaker, First of all, health plans, the Honourable Senator says he's not satisfied. If he's not satisfied, Mr. Speaker, I will ask to provide the contacts of the lessors, the owners of the plan, so that they can engage with the Senator for satisfaction. On those plans anymore. Kenya Airways never owned those plans. It was leased from Kenya Airways. As to unsatisfaction of the Cabinet Secretary on a private owned, I don't think it's in the best interest of the country. The best interest of the country is to ask things that are owned by the agency. I will treat it as such. Mr. Speaker, there are other two groups that the Senator referred to. I don't remember. I had Steer Group and one more. Polish 5. Mr. Speaker, I am glad that the Senator is appraised to, and therefore, Mr. Speaker, I don't need to provide any other supplementary answer because he already has an extra companies. He's more aware than myself on that issue, Mr. Speaker. On the third issue,
Proceed, CS. Proceed.
On the third issue, Mr. Speaker, of Karenga airstrip, he asked the same question that I already answered. I answered, Mr. Speaker, that we are in the past so that the Karenga airstrip can be built to levels required of an airstrip in our republic. None other than His Excellency the President is helping us to speak to Eketera, to negotiate together with the Lands Ministry to negotiate the land. And Mr. Speaker, I want to go on record to thank the Senator of Kericho, the majority leader. Why he's not asking this question is because he's in the middle of this discussion and he's having discussion to get the land from the Eketera itself. And I appreciate senators who are that proactive, Mr. Speaker, because if the majority leader would have possibly come here with a question, but instead he came to my office and we're working together to acquire the land. Mr. Speaker, the issue of reclassification of Eldoret the roads, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the design is ongoing in terms of Nandi Road. Mr. Speaker, from actually Eldoret to Kapsabet is a bit congested, and particularly Eldoret from both sides. Mr. Speaker, design is going on from all angles of Eldoret town to see if we can dual the roads. And a bigger, wider program that I explained earlier, which is from Rironi to Mau Summit, that, Mr. Speaker, will facilitate also the highway. Mr. Speaker, I want to commensurate with Senator Cherargei for losing so many people in this county, down to me, and which forced me to go for the funerals. So I commensurate with him and his family, people who lost their lives, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, I hope that God can protect as many of my friends as possible so that I don't need to go. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator for Kisumu.
Mr. Speaker, I have a supplementary question to the Minister. And Mr. Speaker, an area he touched on the role of NTSA in the registration of. In his response, he talked about a role that NTSA plays. I want the Minister to clarify on the functioning of the e-citizen platform. In the last few months, there have been complaints in the public regarding the transfer of motor vehicles and log. The Cabinet Secretary will have this occasion to respond to Kenyans, explain to Kenyans something wrong with the system and when that problem will be fixed. Mr. Speaker, sir, this submitted comes in the wake of the minister visited NTSA in September last year and addressed specific concerns.
Honorable Senator.
Yes.
And let the CS.
Can the minister tell the public what measures he has taken? The e-citizen platform that touches on the functions of the NTSA operates without a hitch, so that Kenyans are able to transact easily through this platform, and their transactions are. Mr. Speaker, this is important, and this is just as I close off.
It is okay.
Yes.
The CS has heard your question.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Respond, Honorable CS.
Mr. Speaker, we have migration from the platform that we used to operate to the e-citizen platform. This has necessitated delays, and it is true. I owned up to it to the public also that there are delays because of the movement to the e-citizens platform for reasons that I will share in the future once security-related processes that are ongoing is complete. Assure the people of Kenya that the system is up and running. It may experience some itches, that process of maintenance and seeing how it performs, but we will make sure, Mr. Speaker, that we have put in place officers that if the system fluctuates, we make sure that we respond immediately. But it's also true that there are many Kenyans who have not collected logbooks and the driving license and the plates. A number of them, just because we have built in a SMS system that reminds the citizens that your application is complete and that your document is ready. So I hope the people of Kenya will take advantage of the same and I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Lelegwe.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would like to ask one follow-up question to question 013 and 015, and Senator Charagay. Mr. Speaker, in light of the recent tragedy along the Maralal-Baragoi Southern Road, which has claimed several lives, including the life of Honorable MCA for Angata Nanyeke Ward, that is on banditry. Mr. Speaker, sir, currently, attack on the same road, that is Maralal-Baragoi Road, and a teacher injured, one Mr. Lekupe, and he is now being rushed to Maralal for medical attention. So, Mr. Speaker, on this regard, I would like to the upgrading of Maralal-Baragoi Southern Road to bitumen standards, stating when the upgrading process will confirmation of the budgetary allocation and measures taken to ensure that the safety of road users in the given the increased risk of banditry in the area due to the status of this road.
Honorable CS.
Mr. Speaker, I sympathize with my Senator Lelegwe, Senator Dr. Lelegwe, on this situation. We were with him in an spoke about it also emotionally. The road from Maralal to Baragoi is 100 kilometers, Mr. The 100 kilometers is not easy to tarmac in such areas. But it's proven that when the roads are paved, it improves security issues. That is the true in the northern part of Turkana. Mr. Speaker, we have a plan to make sure that we improve this road of Maralal-Baragoi. We have Amaya through this Tangul Bay up to Laikipia, where Senator Joe the road also from Baringo there up to Turkana through Loruk to Lokichar. Mr. Speaker, as part of to deal with security problems in the country, I have told the Kenya to work on designs on all these that help us to deal with banditry in Kerio Valley. And our hope is that because of the budgetary constraints, we partners, which Uma have mentioned too, to see if they can do what we are doing together in the north, in the Kerio Valley region as one way of opening the road. But in the interim, the senator and the leadership of Honorable Etipila, the governor, have all approached me to say we need perhaps short-term maintenance of the road. This Friday, Mr. Speaker, I'll be visiting the area and we will go with Senator Lelegwe and the other elected leaders, the status, and we are working in the office to get emergency resources to make sure that we maintain that place. We will the CS Interior to see how security will be provided to the contractors so that they quickly improve the motorable and safe for people to drive a bit faster to evade the bandits. Mr. Speaker, it must also we must not lose the fact that the real problem, okay? The road network helps us is one of the ways of dealing with the effects of banditry. Possible, and the CS Interior has been there many times to deal with the question of banditry. And as a leader from that career, concerned, and we're working together to see what ways and how my ministry can contribute in the combating this with my friend Senator Lelekwe for the loss of his friend, the MCA, and Paul Samburu, and Kerio Valley region at large. And I hope that as the government, as we promised, we will with banditry with finality. I thank you.
Thank you, CS. There was a question was asked by the senator for Kitui County, and he left the senator for Makueni County to. So can you ask his supplementary question, just one?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, on question number 15 and them came from the senator for Kitui.
15
Let me begin.
only, he asked 14. He asked supplementary question
15.
14. Just under 15.
Yes, 15 there is more airstrips, and also the airstrip at Ithokwe, Mr. Speaker, are useful in case of medical emergency evacuations, and they have been in existence. And I understand, I heard the minister gave. Could the minister indicate as to the plans of at least doing can be used for emergency purposes while we await the major plan he has given us on that particular one, and which he had asked about the compensation in Kibwezi road all the way. Could the minister, on that particular compensation, understanding that this was a country dealing, is it possible then to have a PPP so that from Kibwezi all the way to Sekuru can be compensated on the roads, land which was taken away from them since the Constitution that anticipates that the people should be compensated before the works begin?
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, I agree with the Senator Manzo on the inadequate compensation. And Mr. Speaker, as I said earlier, we shouldn't be in this situation if our budgetary approach, we shouldn't be able to be in this situation. But now we are because of our budgetary process. I promise you that should the resources herein announced earlier, which is be given to the road sector, I believe, Mr. Speaker, that we will be able to compensate those people who have stayed for long. Airstrip, I agree. We should be, and I've consulted the MD who is sitting here next to me, we should be able to do the gravel standard for the time being as we work on these contractual issues that we are dealing with. And I promise that we will. Thank you, Senator.
Next is Senator, who is this? Olekina Ledama. And Honorable Senators, Senator Ngrudia, why do you always like to be disorderly? What I was saying is that we have who is coming before the Senate to answer his questions. It's already a 1:45 p.m. So kindly indulge 2 senators from this side and 2 from this side, then we close this business.
Mheshimiwa Speaker, naweza endelea? May I proceed?
Yes, and
asante kwa kunipa nafasi hii ili niweze kumuuliza Mheshimiwa Murkomen swali. Mheshimiwa Speaker, ni jumba ambalo zinahifadhi kumbukumbu na pia rekodi za kila jambo ambalo. Nikimnukuu Mheshimiwa Murkomen wakati alipokuja hapa alisema kwamba kutoka Ngong mpaka Suswa contractor atakwenda kule kwa wiki 2. Kwa sasa imekuwa miezi 7 tangu Mheshimiwa Murkomen alipokuwa hapa. Je, kweli ikiwa kumbukumbu katika jumba letu la Seneti ni ile ya kusema ya kwamba contractor atakwenda katika wiki 2, hii barabara ambaye ni kilomita 6 peke yake imebaki iweze kumalizika sehemu kidogo mahali ambapo kuna mawe ambayo inataka iondolewe ili tuwe tupate watu ambao wanayosafiri kwenda south kusini, ambao wanayekwenda Migori, wanayekwenda Kisumu wanaweza kutumia. Mheshimiwa Speaker, ningemuomba
malizia swali yako moja.
Mheshimiwa Murkomen akikumbuka kwamba akisimama hapa jumba hili zinakumbuka kutueleza ukweli ya kwamba hii barabara ya Suswa Ngong itamalizika lini?
Samahani, kuna hoja ya nidhamu kutoka kwa seneta wa Garissa.
Unajua Kiswahili wewe?
Asante Bwana Spika. Pia Bwana Spika mwenzangu akiuliza kama anajua Kiswahili. Kwani anamaanisha mimi si Mkenya? Spika, bwana hoja si swali. Hoja yangu Bwana Spika, nimemsikia akiongea vizuri sana hapa. Lakini anaeleze kwa Kiswahili wiki 2 ni nini? Anamaanisha nini? Hiyo ndo swali yangu.
Seneta Rendama Orikina mawiki 2.
Mheshimiwa Speaker, mwenzangu Mheshimiwa Abdul ni mchungaji kama mimi. Mimi Swahili ilikuja na nini? What do you call this train? Na reli. So mimi Mheshimiwa Speaker, swali langu ni swali nyeti sana.
Sasa uliza swali moja kwa moja. Swali yako sana.
Asante Mheshimiwa Speaker kwa kunilinda. Mheshimiwa alitueleza kwamba mkandarasi ataingia katika ile barabara kwa wiki 2. Hii kweli ni ungwana? Mpaka sasa miezi 7 hii barabara ambaye ni kilomita 6 peke yake.
Waziri, jibu hilo swali.
Mheshimiwa alisema kwa muda wa wiki mbili mwanakandarasi atakuwa amerejea barabara ama Ngong kwenda Suswa. Kwa sababu ambazo nimeeleza hapo awali, kulingana inahusiana na mambo ya kifedha, bajeti. Mheshimiwa Spika, hatukuweza ule mwanakandarasi arudi, sababu yeye kwamba kati ya hatujalipa ambayo ni 600 alitaka ya yale ambayo yaliwekwa kwa bajeti. Mheshimiwa Spika, leo na mazungumzo na hivi karibuni contractor atarejea barabara. Ninajichunga sana kwa sababu sitaki kurudi, kwa sababu siku hiyo alikuwa amekubali kurudi kwa wiki mbili, lakini pia tulipatwa na shida ya kuisha wakati wa kandarasi, na sasa tumeandikishana pamoja, ataweza kurudi barabarani. Bwana Spika, nitumie nafasi hii kupongeza Mheshimiwa amekaa kitete kwa hii barabara na yeye amekataa kabisa Mr. Speaker, kabisa Mr. Speaker, na sio na yeye tangu tukue mashinani na yeye na tukiwa hapa kwa bunge, nampongeza kwa sababu anaendelea kushikilia kusukuma, na muomba atupatie muda kidogo tu tutafute hiyo hela, alafu tuweze tukarudisha yeye peke yake. Senator wa Kisii, Senator wa Nyamira na Bomet, Senator wa Bomet kwamba hiyo barabara inaweza kufunguliwa, kwa sababu ile ya Mai Mahiu inawaletea shida kubwa sana.
Senator Bugwa Mugai.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Cabinet Secretary, to tell this House maintenance levy which used to go to the counties, and what happens to the pending which were awarded for the contracts and load maintenance levy by the counties, and the contractors have never been. The program is like suspended or something. Thank you.
Sorry, before the CS, what is?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Your decision of 2 senators from this side and 2 senators from that side, Mr. Speaker, I am not challenging your decision, but it is in majority, Mr. Speaker. We should be given 3 senators and 2 senators from the other side, Mr. Speaker.
Proceed, Senator Bugwa. Okay.
Speaker, it is not possible that any county incurred money levy beyond a given financial year. Road maintenance levy is only capped for that financial year. So the county was given, that is the year they spent. The problem is that because it is not for construction, it's for maintenance, and it's annual allocation. So it's not possible that there's a county that did the same. It would only have been possible if it was development money, I think.
Next is Senator Okech.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
In exactly 2 minutes.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, my supplementary question is actually on the question that was asked the CS on what measures are in place to ensure that proper maintenance of roads regions are well maintained, and whether there is any plan for people affected during those road accidents. And Bwana CS, I know that you did indicate when you are I was referring to the question. So my question is only one, that the CS had actually talked about, the fact that there is no much money to be able to maintain these roads. I just wanted the CS to put a case for to tell this House whether there's priority in terms of those roads, particularly the road in Migori, that comes from coming all the way to Kisii, because that road, in particular, Bwana CS, has got no proper markings. And you can remember, CS, that last year, there's accidents in town involving not only the sugarcane trucks that rammed into the people in town because of lack of those demarcations on bumps, as well as on that particular road, Migori-Kisii Road. It's a major concern. The people in those accidents can be compensated in Migori. Okay, thank you, CS.
CS.
The Speaker, on the maintenance, I had addressed the sugarcane growing areas, very important sector. The Speaker, when we come with that policy increasing the allocation, can you imagine that only 60 billion is chasing all and Kera? We'll then be able to upscale our activities in terms of maintenance of the roads. Meanwhile, we are using them. But also, because county collects cess from the sugar factories and farmers and all that, I think it's important also to put them under pressure to make sure that the other within the county. Senator Eddy is this issue, and he has discussed with me, Mr. Speaker, several occasions. Is to upscale also the civic education related issues. Training owners and the tractor owners and the company owners. Companies took responsibility, not leaving or to leave to the ministry. An important accident. The oil marketing companies took responsibility, establishing vehicle offices. There are trucks from Mombasa to the border. And you've seen accidents involving Mburu Semen. Clear vehicular telematics, their lorries, because they monitor them. I wish the sugar companies, sugar growing, cooperatives, should be able to put also safety as a very important sort of measure on their doing what they do. Unfortunately, we don't have compensation mechanism for road accidents in the country, except for the insurance.
I can see then I only a point of order.
No, Mr. Of order. It's a point of information.
Okay, proceed and inform me.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. First of all, I like to appreciate the listening to us and responding on the issue of if you remember correctly, I spoke about the issue to you sworn in, and I told you that the best thing you can do for Samburu is give us at least 2 roads, if not. Honorable CS, the last time we had a meeting on the very dire insecurity issue in Samburu with the Minister CS for Interior, Honorable Kindiki, I am actually the one who raised the issue, and for the 2 of you to, as a matter of urgency, dire, because I'm issues across the country, like you've spoken about on roads, and
that you want to pass that the road is still.
Honorable Speaker, no. I just want a at least treat our case and situation as a matter of involving loss of lives in Samburu County. Thing that led me from opposition, a leader seek the president recently in Northside in Kilgoris. So for me as a pastoralist to swallow my pride road, I implore the CS as a fellow pastoralist to treat that matter with the urgency. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
You know, Senator Zena presenting a very critical constituency called the youth. So I just to empower you and other youth. Otherwise, I could have disconnected you, but I gave you. So, CS, I think it's just to note that, but you can just take 30 seconds. Okay?
Senator Zena is saying she spoke to me about this road also, and it's also true that even before the funeral, we met to me about the same road, and so it is also true, Mr. Speaker, that she spoke. It is not true that she has to be in government of Samburu or Kenya. Mr. Speaker, the position I hold is apolitical. Of the state and government is to serve all Kenyans regardless of their political affiliations. So I do not wish the senator when she's raising issues that are affecting Samburu. But also I want to challenge the senator that she's not representing Samburu. She's representing all in this chamber, and a pain anywhere in the country should be a pain. Any part of the country should be a pain. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, CS, honorable senators. The next one I will listen to the CS education. I therefore kindly request that has any other question. The CS is available, just do the normal questions, and then the CS will come back again. Supplementary questions from the senators. So kindly, for the respect of the other CS who has been here since morning, Honorable CS, thank you very much for appearing before the Senate, and continue appearing many times. The screen is full because many senators have a lot of questions, especially on loan matters. Thank you very much. So, kindly usher in the next CS. Honorable senators, the Senate is still in session. Them to usher in the Sergeant Adams. On the senators, is education appearing before the Senate to answer several questions from. And therefore, I want to welcome you to the Senate, CS Education, Bwana Mashogu Ezekiel. We have a few questions and I want to start with the Senator for Nairobi City County.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. This is the question to the Cabinet Secretary.
I will call all the questions to be asked at the same time, and then we can give a few senators for intervention. Proceed.
Most appreciated, Speaker. This is the question to the Cabinet Secretary for Education. Confirm that Visa Usual Primary School in Westlands constituency, Nairobi, standing on LR now /5996, was categorized by the Ministry of Education as a public school in 1997. Speaker, could the Cabinet Secretary provide the history of ownership of a said land and explain what the government is doing to set the land ownership tussle between the school and a private developer laying claim to the land? Finally, Mr. Speaker, for education, tell us what the fate of the 2,500 learners of the Visa Usual Primary School is in light of action by the private developer. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Questions from Senator Morango, Senator for Kirinyaga County. Senator Girori Rob, that she has been requested to ask the questions on behalf of the Kirinyaga County Senator. Proceed. Continuously.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Question number 006 by the Senator for Kirinyaga County. Indicates the staffing levels at Kirinyaga University, indicating the number of academic, administrative, and support. B, what proportion of each cadre of staff in the university is from the local community, and could the Cabinet Secretary clarify there is a policy in place requiring universities to employ a fixed quota of staff from the local community? What measures has the government put in place to ensure that institutions of higher learning involve the local community operations? Question number 024 by Kirinyaga County, James Murango. A, are there plans by the government to establish a national polytechnic or technical training county? And if so, could the Cabinet Secretary clarify whether budgetary allocation for the same will be made in the financial year 5? B, what initiative has the government taken to establish at least one national polytechnic institute in all 47 counties? Thank you.
Other questions from Senator Hedy? I cannot see him around. And Senator for Kakamega County. and Senator for the Rakanidi. These three senators cannot see them around or any other instructions from them. CS respond to the questions by Senator Sifuna and Senator Murango. 20 Senator is not around. So, and Senator Ketch, maybe you come back and ask his question.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, sir, and the honorable members for according me this opportunity to the number of questions raised by the Senate. I will start with a question from the Senate, which is about this particular school, and I want to state that the FISA also registered as a public school by the Ministry of Education, filed a registration certificate in E/572/97 dated 1997. Again, the school was registered with the status of the County Education Board on the 6th December 2016. The registration have been provided herewith, and in 2023, Honorable Speaker, the school was also approved in a school. Currently, the school has a total enrollment of 2,535 runners, 1,273 boys, and 1,262 girls. They had 91 runners in 2,347 runners in primary school and 742 runners in. There are 45 teachers employed by the Teachers Service Commission and 45 staff employment and the Nairobi City County government. The school serves about 1,000 undergraduates. Honorable Speaker, the land on which the school stands, that is stroke 5996, was granted by the government of Kenya to the FISA also Nairobi registered trustees way back in 1954. The land was granted for 99 effective 1954. The conditions of the grant in used for the construction of a school, and that there is a determinate to operate as such, that is only for purposes of the school. The school initially ran as an all-Asian school before runners from other races were admitted in the year after independence, starting from 1969. All along, Mr. Speaker, the school was run by the Teachers Service Commission on the understanding, of course, that this is a public school. Received monetary support under the free primary school program. However, the school buildings, on the other hand, trustees. The question of whether the school is public or private, therefore, has been the subject of, and we have had a protracted court cases for a number of years. The total number of these cases being 5, which I'm sure the Honorable Senator from Nairobi is aware. Honorable Speaker, is Nairobi High Court Civil Case number 1474 of 2005, where also a community sued the then City Council of Nairobi, and they went to court alleging that the land on which the primary school operates since 19 was built using the community resources, and therefore the City Council are into a public primary school without a role of authority. They there sought vacant possession of the property, found ruled in their favor as per the attached we have been able to attach. However, the status quo remains. It was Nairobi High Court Constitutional Petition number 262 of 2013. It was the community, the official community, registered trustees versus their branch and the commissioner, the cabinet secretary, education then. And by January 2013, the commissioner branch wrote the trustees, giving them 6 months notice to and the trustees, following that, filed a case against the commissioners, notice saying they violated their constitutional right to property and fair administrative action. 8 March 2014, the court dismissed the case as per the attached judgment. The court found that the public land since registration, having received the teachers from the Teacher Service Commission and the funding the primary education program. A copy of the judgment is attached, Honorable Speaker. There was a Nairobi Court of Appeal, Civil Appeal number 126 of 20, where the Fisher Oswald community, again, versus the Attorney General, Commissioner of Secretary of Education, again, this particular appeal, judgment was issued on the 24th, and it was found to be in favor of the trustees. The court affirmed and held that there was no basis for the Commission of Lands to require the trustees to surrender their land. The reasoned that the conditions in the grant did not categorize the school that was to be constructed. It was for public use or for private use. Following that, the matter was taken to Supreme Court under application number 20E043. The Board of Management and the Fisher Oswald Primary School versus Fisher Oswald Community, and then the Attorney General and the Minister for Education. And during that particular Board of Management applied for leave from the Supreme Court to appeal against the decision of 2019 by the Court of Appeal. In its ruling, issued on 17 February 2022, the fate of a public school is a matter of public interest, and that the Board of Management should be allowed to ventilate the forum. The Supreme Court directed the school Board of Management to institute its claim at the court. Following that, a case was filed, Nairobi ELC of 2022, the Board of Management again versus this trust. And the case wanted a declaration that indeed public primary school and the land in which it sits is public land for the public purpose of operating a school. In conjunction with the Attorney General, filed a replying affidavit in support of the school's case. At the time, the school also applied for conservatory orders, which to instruct the trust management of the school. This application was either dismissed by the court on 24 2022, but the original main application is still in the court. Honorable Speaker, Therefore, the ministry is matter with the Attorney General and the Board of Management to safeguard and maintain the position that this is a public school, and the land being occupied there is for public and not for private purpose as such. So our that we will still continue fighting this matter in court until is maintained that this is run for public use and that this is a public. So the 2,500 students are still in this particular school. It has not come to a time where, of course, we can say that there are any which can be able to take effect, and we are still maintaining that and fighting the matter in court. I saw Speaker, sir.
Proceed with the other questions. Give the answers to the other.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. The Kirinyaga issue is that Kirinyaga University is that was just.
If possible, you can just summarize.
Yeah, thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. That's better. Kirinyaga University is a university since 2016, and the total number of staff at this particular university is 284, Honorable Speaker, and out of these 284, 69 are from the local community, that is Kirinyaga, whereas 215 are from other counties across the country. The total number of support staff out of this, 30 are from the local community, that is Kirinyaga, which represents 62. The total number of clerical and administrative staff is 116, and out of this, 27 are from the local community, that is Kirinyaga, and that represents 23.27%. The total number of academic staff, and out of this, Honorable Speaker, 12 are from the local community, which again translates. Have shown a schedule, which a table there, which is indicating clearly distribution. The second part of the question, I would like to state that the university, the responsibility of employing any staff of a university is given to the university. And of course, we are aware that the Constitution of Kenya, Article 232, provides principles of public service, particularly when it comes to matters recruitment. We must take into consideration. One is fair competition and merit as the basis of appointment and promotion. Again, be representative of Kenya's diverse communities, as well as affording adequate and equal opportunities for appointment at all levels. So again, when you come to Section 7 of the National Immigration Act, Honorable Speaker, it also reinforces these provisions of the Constitution, which clearly states that represent the diversity of the people of Kenya in the employment of staff, and that no public staff have more than 1/3 of its staff from the same ethnic community. So a state corporation bound by all these public sector rules on recruitment and employment of staff, we are also ensuring as much as possible as this particular one is concerned. There is no really, apart from the rules that have been able to state, which states that the employment quota from the local community. But generally, the lower cadre, grade 2 to grade 8, which comprises of the support staff and the junior administrative staff, the locality of the university. And this is not only for Kirinyaga University, but it's a pattern that we have other public universities. Particularly here, you can see that the lower staff, 62% originate from the local community, which is Kirinyaga County. The impact to the local community is the. I would like to state that the local community is very important in the context that it is that the university operates, and of course, it is that particular community which has to create a conducive environment, and in particular, the security and the safety of the students, even as they go out of campus once after a while, also on the local community, and therefore their support is very critical, Honorable Speaker. It is, of course, very clear that universities provide employment opportunities, and in the rural cadre, it is the local community that is able to benefit, and even when there are cash opportunities, the members of the local community, particularly when we are having any construction sites within universities, which a number, and even university farms, we engage casual employees from the local community. The universities also impact very positively on the local communities because they offer business such as accommodation, hostels for university students and staff. Even the normal supplies to the university are also done by the communities. From the policy point, Honorable Speaker, we always encourage universities to engage in research and also engage in such that the findings of any research done can be of impact to the surrounding and the local community. For example, to the University of Dedan and Kimathi, you can see the kind of engagement they have done in matters and the great impact that it has had on the surrounding community. So in that particular question, I think we have covered all the areas. I would like to also on Kirinyaga. Yeah, the other one, Honorable Speaker, is about what to establish a national polytechnic in Kirinyaga. And I would like to state that, as we are all aware, the government came up with a policy of establishing at least one national polytechnic in every county, and was really focusing on the constitutional principles of equity, regional balance, and devolution of services. There was also a sub-policy of establishing at least one TVET institution in each constituency, 290 constituencies. As of now, with effect from 2016, there were parameters, there was a clear criteria given on what and which TVET institution would be able to call national polytechnic status. Among the criteria that we followed was that the acreage of 50 acres, and they must have a title for that, and that they must have a from TVETA for the program that they offer must be approved by TVETA, and that it must also be situated in where there is demand for TVET courses. And also, of course, a national polytechnic, there must be a request from the local stakeholders for establishment of such technique. For the case of Kirinyaga, Honorable Speaker, we have three TTIs. One is Kirinyaga Central, which is in the Kirinyaga Central constituency, where 3 trainees. The next one we have is in Mwea constituency, the Mwea TTI, which 132 trainees. The third one we have is in India TTI, only 593 trainees, and the one which is undergoing construction is which is 80% complete. And out of these 4, we have not as yet received an application for resettlement so that we can be able to undertake the necessary process that in order for it to be known whether it qualifies for a national polytechnic or it doesn't. Honorable Speaker, the year 2023, apart from the 8 that were started way back in 2016, established 13 more national polytechnics. So in total, now, I think 24 national polytechnics in 22 counties, and there are 24 which are yet to apply and have national polytechnics. As far as TTIs are concerned, we have 2 TTIs in our 237 constituencies. We have 50, and in this particular financial year, we were able to get funds to construct 15. So after this financial year, 37, because progressively as we get funds, we want to build 1 in each and every constituency. Submit, sir.
Okay, let's get the other question from Senator Hedy.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and good afternoon to CS. My question, Mr. Speaker, is an assessment of what is going on with the CBC, and therefore I'll start with asking the Minister about what progress has the government made in infrastructure, including classrooms, libraries, and laboratories in readiness for the enrollment of the first of the competency-based curriculum, that is CBC, class to join grade 9. And could the Cabinet confirm whether the progress aligns with the originally set timelines that we all know as a country, and actively promoting awareness of the CBC curriculum? And could also the Cabinet Secretary in that clarification help the government undertakes consultations on curriculum review with other key stakeholders, and would be parent, teachers, and publishers? And lastly, Mr. Speaker, if to also provide an update on the implementation of the recommendations of the Presidential on Education Reform, because that particular task force is had some very that we don't know that will be achieved before our children join grade 9. I think.
Honorable CS.
Yeah, thank you. And honorable members, as you are aware, Honorable Senator Hedy, junior schools currently have an enrollment of 2,279,057 and 57 and 8. Of course, as we know, in the old system of 844 classrooms in standard 7 and 8, which as of now, those ones to senior school, which is our secondary schools, So as far as grade 7 and 8, we have a program as far as classrooms are concerned. The ministry has also done and determined that we have a shortage of 15,021 classrooms for those to grade 9 next year, the year 2025. We have the number of classrooms we require countrywide as per county, and have there for members to be able to confirm. The government has also taken proactive steps to ensure that the infrastructure requirement for is in place. And for that particular purpose, the government has been able to allocate a condition of 39 billion to the National Government Constituent Development Fund, which is distributed across the constituencies, of course, taking into consideration the needs we have done covering the entire country. The CDF, we have agreed, is also supposed to, from their allocation, such that once we do one classroom using these funds, do another one classroom. Out of this, we expect that we should be able to do 6,000 integrated for our junior school. Additionally, we have engaged World Bank, and we have an allocation of 9 billion money, which we are also using to ensure that 9,000 classrooms, which in the total will make. So we are working hard this particular year in order to make sure that the necessary required infrastructure of the schools is done in readiness for admission of the grade 9 side in the existing primary schools. And I want to emphasize on that point, because in the existing primary schools, they are not going to senior school. Senior school, they will be able to go out 9. And promoting awareness, we have taken a lot of steps to awareness on the CPC system through an inclusive and participatory process. This process, Honourable Speaker, was undertaken way back in 2019. We know that we are undertaking our first implementation of CPC since 2017. 2 years pre-primary, 6 years in primary, 3 years in junior school, and 3 years in university. That is the kind of structure we have, and the implementation of this particular based on session of paper number 1 of 2019, which was a policy framework for reforming education and sustainable development in Kenya. The same session of paper was presented in the last parliament. It was debated and approved, and it is on the basis of that particular policy parliament that we have that particular structure in place. We have also other methods in order to create awareness, such as public forums, press releases, visual statements to convey information on key issues in CPC, such as the domiciling of the guidelines for implementation of the junior school. We did our various public forums and the implementation of the running areas, because we have been able to reduce the running areas as recommended by KIC and every level. The other state agencies which are very much in following.
Sorry for interrupting you, but Seems like he's satisfied with your response. Yeah, so if you can summarize.
Thank you.
A few
The
senators
Presidential Working
some
Party.
2-3 minutes to ask the supplementary question.
Yeah, the Presidential Working Party.
Senator Eddie, because the response is with you. If you are satisfied with the response from the CS, then we can the other senators. Are you? Is satisfied. So, Honorable CS, the Senator is happy with your response. I want to save you some time so that I can give a few senators to ask their supplementary question. Let me start with your county.
Thank you. Thank you, CS. It's actually for me the first time that I have been in this house when the CS comes from my county, so I'm happy to see him. CS, I wanted to ask you, because if you look at all the institutes which are actually under your ministry, they seem to be having a problem, and that is TVETs are being managed and run by the county governments, and yet they're supposed to be them and whatever that the county governments are doing. The question I wanted to bring on forth to you is that you know that primary school bursary fundings, secondary schools and even university students, and the problem is that technical vocational training institutes are actually supposed to be getting bursaries, but we do not have those lists. I, as a senator, Waziri, I don't know whether I should expect the county government to pay their fees, or their bursaries, or whether it is your ministry to do that. Number two,
I have only one supplementary question. Senator Mofaya asked a question I skipped in my mind.
Just seconds.
Please.
The question, the last one I would ask is the way you have given conditional grants to CDF, and this is to CDF construction projects in primary schools and secondary schools. What I would like the CS is, are you also considering that we can actually avail funds for the technical vocational training institutes which are under county government, so that they can also, some of these TVETs don't even have furniture, they don't have any equipment, so that then they can be useful pertaining the KK government's policy and agenda of introducing industry. The children from the technical vocational training institutes are the ones who should be recruited from the vocational institutes, so that they can go and work in the industrial parks, because the two are related. Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker.
Mwenda Kataya, ask your question.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I am seeking to know from the minister whether the county service secretary will distribute 9 billion allocated to Kamotwanu Primary School in Gatonga Ward in the Tharaka County for infrastructure and development. Plans of 10 billion, which was allocated to the school in the financial year 2019-2020. At the same time, the Secretary, could he explain the reason for the delay in the disbursement of the 9 billion to the school? Because it has taken quite a lot of money was distributed to the school.
Answer the two questions.
Yeah, thank you, the Honorable Speaker, sir. To start with the question from my county, KC, is that we have two categories here. One, government, which is technical training institutes, which are under national government, which policies to ensure that we establish one in each and every constituency, and up to now we have 38 so far established. We have 52 to go, and this particular We have a budgetary allocation to do 15 of them, and therefore we will be able to remain with 37. And out of this, it is government which provides funds. The 15, we have been provided with 52 million, and the constituencies are also supposed to give 10 million. The cost of each and every one of them will be 62 million, not more than that. For this, the students going into these particular colleges, the government gives capitation. Based on the enrollment, we give capitation to the students joining this particular teaching. And again, even the students also enjoy getting loans from higher loans education, enjoy special grants which the government gives. For which is clearly spelled out in our Constitution, Schedule 4, which of course separates funds from county government. This is the preserve and responsibility of our county governments. And the Honorable Speaker, national government, as you are aware, used to give a conditional grant to purposes of these vocational training centers to cater for equipment in this particular vocational. Following arguments and I think consideration between the national government and the county governments requested for conversion of this conditional grant of 2 billion to. Ever since that time, unfortunately, the money is given out by national government as a equalization fund, purposely and strictly for purposes of vocational training centers, and some of them situation. We had in a discussion with the county governments through the Committee of Education, Governor's Committee on Education and the Ministry of Education, what we can be able to do in order to have these vocational training centers serve the purpose for which they were intended to serve. Don't get it right here, the kind of technical staff, skilled people with the kind of competencies we require, it will be quite a challenge. So we are aware of the problem with the vocational training centers. Any capitation from national government to these ones, because it is the county governments which are supposed to be responsible. There is that problem which we will hopefully be able to sort out in the near future. From the senator from Tharaka Nithi about the primary school, and I'm sorry that this was brought to my notice in the schedule of those that were pending, because we would have done something, but I've seen it has been pending since 2020. It is only in the year 2020-2021 financial year that an allocation was made to this particular primary school, and therefore there is a balance of 9 million, and what I have now to be able to give to the entire country, and of course we must make sure that money is equitably spread to all the schools in all the countries, all the counties in Kenya, is only one to give to the various areas, because I must ensure that there is equity, and each the country, the 47 counties must be covered. So I have allocated you because you can. Resources have been limited, so progressively we will be allocating depending on what we have, and this year I will have allocated 2 million to go to that particular school, and by next week, if you pass through my office, you will be able to get confirmation that the money deposited in the school account. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, sir.
Education.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have, and I beg that you allow me to ask 2 questions to the CS. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The first question relates to what Senator Eddy has asked about preparation, Mr. Speaker, on the admission to grade 9, which the CS has handled well. But my question to the CS is, what arrangements are there, even as 2026, when we are going to admit the first senior secondary school, that is grade 10. And why I ask these, or most specifically, to let the House know, Mr. Speaker, because we know that there are going to be 3 pathways in secondary schools as we know them today. There'll be STEM, there'll be arts and sports, and there'll be, if I'm not wrong, language. So the clarification that I'm seeking, Mr. Speaker, is will we have specific schools offering specific pathways, or all schools at grade 10 with pathways? That is my first question, Mr. Speaker. Number 2, and which concerns me as Chair Education, because people keep calling us, I think from an appearance by the PS Basic Education at the National, he said that government or the ministry is being forced to reduce secondary school students, which has stood at over 22,000 some hundreds, Mr. Speaker, and now the PS, because of the growing numbers of students in secondary schools, that the ministry has been forced to reduce these to Kenya shillings for every student. So my question then would be, because we know that the allocation the Minister of Education actually was the highest this year, that is budgetary allocation, are there no internal of seeing to it that we allocate more to capitation from whatever has been allocated, so that students continue 1,000 Kenya shillings, if not more? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Let's get another question from